The following presentation of the Eric McKenna Project
is sponsored by no one.
Hello, you're listening to the Eric McKenna Project.
Gentlemen, appreciate it. Means a lot that you're here today on this rainy... We don't date the shows, of course, but this was a rainy day.
Yeah, before Halloween.
It's all Fred's pro.
You just dated the show.
Such an ass. Such an ass. He knows what he's doing. You asshole. Dale, you're in for something, man. This is going to be a ride because you got some... Yeah. I can't even... Him, he's usually under control. Him, I don't know. So I have his new camera set up. I can... Now, this might be a problem. I don't have a direct, clear line to my diagonal guts.
Yeah.
We may have to rethink these cameras at some point.
It's okay.
But for this show, we're going to do it. Fred's late, as usual.
As always.
Yeah.
Fashionably late. Yeah, see?
Gentlemen, a couple things on my cranium here, and of course we're freewheeling. This is the 11th, I think, show of the Four Friends series here, so again, everything's on the table. I want to talk a little bit today about the concept of happiness and the concept of success, and I'm guessing that can be interchangeable.
Sure.
But I want to talk about happiness first. It's kind of in reverse, because that's the more difficult one, I think. The reason I bring it up is that we've been through a tumultuous, at least I view it as a tumultuous couple, I don't know, almost 2 years now. Is it almost 2 years?
Yeah.
Coming up on it.
March.
Yeah.
I got a hat on. This ain't going to work. Yeah, I'm losing it here. Anyways, the point being, the concept of happiness, has it changed for you at all during these 2 years or not? And overall, what does it actually mean? Do you give it any time? And ultimately, the outlier question in regards to happiness is, does it really matter?
Interesting.
I'm coming right to you, big boy.
You always come to me first. Has happiness changed for me over the pandemic? I wouldn't necessarily say it changed. I think I have a clearer picture of what it is. To me, it's freedom. I mean, I've always said that. I mean, that's just being able to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, with whom I want to do it, is really happiness. I mean, that's just whether it's spending time with my kids, my wife, doing the business I want to do, working with the people I want to work with. That's what brings me happiness. Just being in complete control of my life from all aspects. That definition, I guess it has changed from a few times that we've talked about this, but that's, as I've gotten a more clear and more focused picture, that's really it. Being able to control all aspects. That just makes me happy, because no one else dictates what I can and can't do.
The pandemic really hasn't changed that philosophy. It's been the same for you for a long time now?
Yeah, I mean, the pandemic, I think, just showed me a lot more opportunity out there to do it. It was, I mean, look, the pandemic sucked for a while, right? At the beginning, you're just like, what the fuck? Like, stuck in your house, you don't know what's going on, and that drove me crazy. But as we got through it, I mean, I think it just helped me get a very clear picture of happiness.
I'm coming to you.
To me?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
This is the esoteric shit that we've not talked about with Fred. Because Fred's just usually, it's all like, the fun stuff. But we're going to get serious today.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, I'm never happy.
I might learn something about Fred today.
I'm never happy.
That's a lie.
So check it out, man. With all this time off, I sit around because I don't stop. I work nonstop every day, and the pandemic brought it all to a screeching halt. And then I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I'm happy when I work, and then I was very unhappy when I wasn't doing anything. But what was great was, you sit around and you think you'd have all this time to do all these things that you got to get done. Nope, doesn't happen, because now I discovered that just sitting there was kind of cool. It was kind of happy after you work 16 hours a day every day.
So you kind of enjoyed
I enjoyed it at first,
the time off.
I enjoyed it, and then it got And then I went back to work. Like we started back making movies, and I think I started back in February, and I haven't stopped. Now it's the end of October, and I'm just getting done. So I'm leaving 16-hour days for 20-hour days with Trans-Siberian every day. I can't think of a better job where you go to bed at 1 o'clock, get up at 5 o'clock, and then you work all day, 5 days a week, you know. But so I'm going from movies, which make me happy. So I discovered a lot of free time, which made me somewhat happy. Then I got bored with it. Then I got happy when I went back to work making movies, because that's what makes me happy. And then I'm going back to touring now. So after a 2-year hiatus from touring, I'm back.
You are back.
Yeah, and I just stopped.
As scary as that is.
And I just, you know, I don't know what. I don't know what to expect.
Do you ever give it any thought? Like, do you ever sit around and it's a big picture question, right? Am I happy?
Oh yeah.
What makes me happy?
I'm unhappy. I'm unhappy all the time. I'm the biggest faker.
Pretty honest.
I'm the biggest faker. I make a joke about it, you know. And but yeah, it's you know, I strive for, you know, to do everything perfect all the time, and it's tough to do that, you know, in any business. I jump around from job to job because, you know, I get tired of one thing, you know, I could look for the next thing that's going to make me happy. So, but yeah, I mean, would I like to have a little more time again now? Yeah, but as soon as I get a day off, I'm going to go stir crazy thinking about the things I should be doing, and just sitting there editing photos or trying to write a book. trying to write a book. But
there is this thing called deadlines, you know. He works on deadlines.
Yeah.
He works on deadlines. I work on deadlines. You, not so much.
Come on. Fashionably late for everything.
That's true.
But no, I mean, I tend to find, you know, I'm happy when I'm working. I'm happy when I'm creating. And that pandemic, it put a little, it stymied a little bit of for a while, but now I'm back. And,
so the activity makes you happy.
Yeah, I mean, it's the actual idea of doing something, you know, because you can sit around, but it eats after you after a while. So I'm happy that I'm back working. You could keep that pandemic.
But you do.
Well, it's a tough question because what defines happiness certainly changes over your lifetime. You know, I think about when I was young, and I had visions of travel and you know, buying exotic things and owning big homes and that sort of thing, and you know, some life choices. I didn't quite get there, but then as you age, you end up with children and recently a grandchild, and life just naturally gets more complicated and busy and kind of crazy, just in a different way than what you may have envisioned when you were young. But you know, I think I've already been transitioning in this direction towards simplicity is happiness. And COVID certainly amplified that for me, because there was that period where we just kind of were shut down. Yeah. You know, and it's like, this isn't so bad. You know, you know, hey,
you just had the balls to say what most people probably were feeling but would never admit.
Well, honestly, I mean, it's an honest reaction to the situation.
Yeah, right on.
You know, and I mean, I'm somebody that has to stay busy. You kind of know, you know, I create a project at home when I don't need a project at home. You know, hey, let's paint a room, and it turns out we tore out the entire front of the house. You know, but
he's not lying.
Yeah, but you know, if I look at all of the aspects of my life, professional, personal, I really am looking hard at how can I simplify each one of those areas of my life so that it's not so overwhelming, that I do just feel comfortable and happy. And you know, it's a ways off. I don't feel like that's something I can create tomorrow. It's probably going to be the rest of my lifetime effort. But I think for the first time, I really do feel like I have an idea what I want, and now I just have to make it happen.
So simplicity is the big one for you.
Simplicity is happiness, and it doesn't mean not doing anything.
Right.
It just means doing it. Rocco said on my terms. What I want to do, and there's a similarity between what he said and what I'm saying.
Right. Right. The component that resonates with me is that freedom thing. It's just being able to. I always wanted simplicity in my life, and I did everything to create more complexity. And I still find myself. I think I'm figuring it out as age takes me, but that freedom thing, getting the first taste of it, we talked many times before, like that first taste, the guitar era, that first taste of like, wow, earning a living based upon the efforts of my own volition with no one telling me what I have to do or what expectations were. That was blissful. Yeah. I mean, it's a corny word to use, but that was blissful. And I still have that now where I have to like be aware that, hey, not having a boss telling me what to do every day, I'm pretty fortunate to have that, lucky. So I kind of have to remind myself, even in my darker moments, that like, you got it pretty freaking good. So the freedom thing, and I guess simplicity would be a wish as well too, man. I'd love for things to be simpler, but that doesn't. And again, we probably could do that. We're in control of everything ultimately. Yeah, but we tend now. I just had a physicist on, and this comes to mind. He Dr. Cooper, thank you. There is that statement he always talks about that humans or any object will move toward the least state of complexity. I think so. Like people take the easy way out of everything, but that's not really different than what's found in nature. Okay. Water will run to the easiest route. Water will travel the easiest route. Okay. In physics, there's this law, and forgive me for those physics people who will probably correct me and say it should be this. This is what you're quoting. I'm trying to say conceptually that things generally take the quickest and easiest point of movement. And I am
the path of least resistance.
Least complexity. Yeah. I feel that over time we kind of naturally do that. Either that or we've gotten beaten up so bad in our life we're just beaten down now. But I think that over time, I would think generally over time, would you not agree that humans tend to become more simple? The time does that.
I don't know. Okay. I tend to disagree, but that's me. I thrive in chaos.
That's me too.
Like if things are simple, like I'm out of sorts. Like I don't like simplicity. I like complexity. I like to constantly solve a challenge or a problem. Okay. So to me, it's like if things are going too well in my life, I have a tendency to drop a bomb in the middle of it,
blow it up,
and just say, "Let's see what happens." But
your spirit animal over here.
But it's true because that's how I'm wired, right? Like I'm wired. I'm a problem solver by nature. Right. So if I don't have problems to solve, I get antsy, and I need to fix something or I need to solve something. So that's the career path I chose. Business and entertainment law. There's complexity to that. So I'm constantly solving problems and trying to grow a firm. And I could stay where we are and be completely happy where my life was like, I don't worry about money. But it's like I want more. I want more complexity. I want to keep growing. I want to keep challenging myself. Like I've always been that way. I don't know that I'll ever get to a point where I'm like, I'm good. That's just I'm not wired that way. I don't think. I think people are. I don't think there's wrong with it one way or the other. I think you choose your path.
Is there a way to have both? Like I look at taking on challenges and doing things, but then I yearn for a somewhat simplistic life in terms of my personal life, my family. I would like things to be more orderly. Yeah, and that would enable me to take on more in areas that I choose. I mean, this is a big want, right? It doesn't always happen, but I think simplicity can live in harmony with what you're describing.
100%. Like my personal life is very simple. Like I have 3 amazing kids, amazing wife. Like we kind of. It's easy. Like it's not. We've had ups and downs, obviously, but we've kind of got to a point where we figured it out.
If it wasn't, though, if it was more complex, how would that? Or would that take a toll on the business part, the complexity of the business?
Yeah, 100%.
Are you able to have this complex business engagement?
No, I do, because again, I come back to the point where, and you hear many people say there's only you as a human being, you can only solve so many problems a day, or make so many decisions a day.
Okay.
So if I have complexity in my personal life, right, I'm burning brain power and decision-making ability on solving those problems. So then when I get to the business, I can't fix those.
Got it.
So I look at, I try and outside of the complexity of my business and what I do as a career, everything else, I'm very orderly, right? Like my schedule, like I try and keep everything, pick out my clothes the night before. Like I know what I'm going to wear when I get up in them. So I don't have to make those decisions. Food's already packed.
So you're
like
you're very type A.
Yeah, but it allows me the ability to now have more mental capacity the next day to make more complex decisions. If I had to get up in the morning and figure out what am I going to eat today, what am I going to wear today, what do I have to bring to the office today, what is my schedule like, that's all done the night before. So that's just how I've always been. So that's the part of the simplicity of my life that lives in harmony with the complexity, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. The happiness thing for me, if your world became, if your personal life became more complex, would that rub against your happiness?
Sure, it has become. We've had complexities in my personal life. Like Laura and I've had ups and downs over the years. We've been married almost 15 years, and you get the points of time where there's complexity in it. And yet, I notice that if there is that complexity in my personal life that I'm trying to solve, it impacts the other parts of my life. Mm-hmm. So I'm a type of person, and you know me, like I've always tried to work on myself and kind of go through that self-discovery. And the more work I've done on myself and on my personal life and in my relationships, the easier everything else got.
Got it.
That's kind of how I look at it.
It's such the right answer, right?
It's not,
almost like it's read off a textbook. It's
no,
so good.
It's not a, it's not a right or wrong answer. It's my philosophy.
Is the concept of happiness really needed in today's society? And an additional question, do we as people in this online internet, quote unquote, moving toward a virtual world, do we place some kind of unnecessary importance in our conscience in regards to being happy? I mean, you see every meme imaginable. The meme world will show you what's on the conscience of society, I would think, right? There's every meme imaginable to find happiness, and you won't be happiness until you get rid of that guy or that girl or that bad influence. I mean, you see it all. Is it just all fluff and bullshit, or are we reaching a higher state of consciousness? I know it's pretty deep for you, isn't it?
It's pretty deep for me, too.
I was like, shit, I need a bowl.
I will say this to your point, those memes, they're externalizing happiness. Like, happiness should be internal. Like,
right on.
You should not look for anything outside of yourself to make you happy, right? If I'm not happy with myself, nothing else matters.
Absolutely, that's the key right there.
That really is, and I think we talk about these memes, right? And they say, "Oh, well, you'll be happy when this. You'll be happy when this." Well, just be happy. To me, happiness is a choice. There are things that make me make that choice easier.
Right.
Like if I didn't have the freedom I did, or I do right now, it would be harder for me to get up every day and be like, "I'm really fucking happy." Because I'm like, I got to answer to someone today. I don't like to answer to anybody. So if I had to answer to someone, it would be harder for me to make that choice. But I truly believe happiness is a choice. You get up every day, you decide if you're going to be fucking happy or not.
Yeah, I get that.
Huh. Yeah, it's kind of like, I've never been to Cancun.
Sure.
So you want to go to Cancun. You get to Cancun, you look around and you're like, wow, I thought this was going to make me happy, but you know what? They have slimy algae. They've got,
yeah.
I mean,
but have you had those moments in your life? Maybe not just the Cancun example, but things like that throughout your life where you obtain a goal or obtain something tangible, right? Or experience something, and then it leaves you like unfulfilled.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's an everyday thing for me. But no, I mean, but that's exactly it. You put this high expectation on something that's going to save you, and it doesn't. Something that's going to make you happy or get you out of your slump or whatever you want to, however you want to call it. But yeah,
well, that's what I mean when I say happiness maybe is given almost an artificial importance in society now.
No, but the exact truth is, to be truly happy, you have to start with yourself.
Yeah,
and it has to come from inside, and that's that's the age-old answer for that, but it's the truth.
It is.
Because if you can't be happy with yourself, you can't be happy with anybody around you or anything you do.
Yeah.
And so you have to have that inner peace, I believe, to be able to appreciate the little living moss that's just trying to have a good day in Cancun. And it's right to sit there in the slimy floor bed of the sea. And but yeah, I mean, when you have that inner peace, it kind of makes everything else less important. That when you have that happiness, you always see these people that are like overly happy, but they kind of like pick up the people around them, don't they?
Yeah.
They kind of bring out the best in somebody else.
I think that's why people love being around you. Seriously, I mean, you are a jovial, kind of happy-lucky guy, Frey. So no matter who, and I've seen it from a distance.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen you upset a few times, not many, but I mean, you generally have that aura about you where you're generally in a good mood.
Yeah.
I would love to be like that. And I know some other people in my sphere that are like that too. It's to me that's enviable, and that to me is such a valuable possession, internal possession, that you can't put a dollar value on.
I mean, I look at it like this. If I want to be miserable, I'll be miserable, but I try to make the people around me happy. I give you the best experience you can. And that's what a lot of people say to me on the road. Man, we thought you'd be an asshole. We thought you'd be miserable. Well, I am. I'm just not showing it. I'm just not I'm not going to ruin somebody else's day. But if I wanted to, I could.
Yeah.
But the thing is that's just it's all how you present things, man. If you come across as happy, if you're happy, you make the people around you happy. Yep. Your day goes better. Yeah. You get more done. You're more productive. Yep. You get production out of people around you. Right. That's the old. You get more flies with honey than vinegar. If you're nice, I mean, you don't want to go to a horrible work environment. Yeah. Make a nice, happy work environment around you. Things go great for those 20 hours you're working a day, and and then.
Not me, pal.
But that's just exactly it. I think that key to happiness comes from within side of a person, and if you can make others happy around you, then that's your.
But how do you explain it to a 20-year-old?
Oh, you can't. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you can't.
Working with, and I'm not being a dick.
When he prefaces that,
not being a jerk here,
it's coming.
But you see these kids today, and they do not have
these kids today.
Well, that's exactly what happens because now I'm old. I'm old now, and I didn't understand it back then, but I kind of did because I always work, and I see these. I sit and talk to kids. Yeah. And they want to talk on the phone. They don't want to do it right. And my thing is, what I always say at work is, do it right once. Yep. Do it right the first time. Do it right once. Yep. And you don't see that. Yeah. You got somebody preoccupied with what's going on over here, with what's going on the phone. Oh, I got this text message. I got to take this phone call. No, get the job done. Do it right. Do it right once, not half-assed. Yep. And when I was a kid, I always thought, I'd hear the word or the phrase half-assed, and I thought it was half-fast. So I'm like, wow, man, got to do that slow. No, it's half-assed. So, but that's a true story. And once I really
how's that served you on the road?
But the thing is, I see, I guess maybe it's because I'm nuts and work makes me happy. And I'm truly happy when I'm doing that, when I'm creating, if I'm doing whatever. But I see it drives me bad shit, these kids today. And it really does, man, because they just don't get it. And you.
I don't think that's their fault, though.
Well, here's the thing. I went to. I spoke at a college.
You got the alfalfa thing.
Do I got it going on there?
You'll be mother effing me later when you watch this if I don't tell you about it.
So I was a guest speaker at a college right before the pandemic, and the teacher said to me, he goes, and here I am, figure I'm 50, walking into this classroom of 18, 19, 20
But you're a
years.
college graduate, Fred.
Well, yeah, and it was the college I went to, and you know, so they had me back as a guest
Yale.
speaker. Yale, yeah. Well, that was my
Undergrad.
that was my undergrad. But
He went to Brown. For
I went to Harvard on the Mon. I went to Cal U. Went to Harvard on the Mon, and so I went back and I was a guest speaker for the communications music class kind of thing, and the teacher said, "Look, these kids, they're not how you were when you went." And figure I'm 20 some years older than the teacher, and he's 10, 12, 15 years older than the students or whatever. And I got up there to speak, and typical Fred, I didn't take any notes. So I just go up and I'll talk to you. And I let it come out natural, and that's what it did. And
Oh God!
I watched these kids out there, and every one of them had a phone.
Yeah.
And they're all sitting there doing the phone, and I spoke, and I talked to him.
Yeah.
But what the teacher said, he was scared the living shit out of them.
Yeah.
He's because they think that they're going to get out and everything's going to be handed to them. That they're going to get a 6-figure job walking right out, and that
They might in this economy.
that they can come out there and make it. And I'm like, no, you just don't get out. He goes, a lot of these kids think.
Yep.
And I went up there and I scared the living piss out of them. I said, if you fucking think that you're going to find a job when you get out of here, you're dreaming. And I told him, when I went to school to be a director and work in communications. And everything I learned was what they called analog, and we did everything on tape. My class was the last class to do everything analog. The world had already gone digital, and I was a dinosaur, and I couldn't find a job to save my life anywhere because I didn't know anything digital.
Right.
And with technology changing so fast, you have to be up on it. And yeah, I get it, man. Maybe the phones and the stuff like, 'cause we didn't have that when I was in school, when I was a kid. And so these kids, but they adapt quick to technology. But in the business world, in the work world, you have to be on top of that technology to be top. A lot of these cats just sit back and think it's going to be an easy coast. So I did. But by the end of the hour-long presentation or speech, I won them over. And I actually had like 30 kids stay after class to talk to me about the different things. But, it was because I started talking about work ethic.
Yeah,
and that's
so
where it has
important.
to be.
Yep.
You got to go into your job happy. You have to love what you do, because if you don't, you're just making yourself miserable, and you're spinning your wheels, and you'll never be happy. You'll never be happy with any job if you're not happy going into it. So when I get burnt out on the road, I'll go make a movie. When I get done making movies, if I get burnt out from them, which I'm really burnt out now since February, I've done 5 movies since February,
Right.
5 shows since February. So I'm ready to go back on the road.
Yeah.
And as much as this road job burns me out, I know that I'm going to be happy for a bit that I'm back out there. I'm back traveling.
But you can't teach someone to love activity, right? I mean, that's like
But you can tell them that you can't teach them. You could. It's like with anything.
Yeah.
You can
show them.
You can show them. You can tell them. You can teach them. But whether they take and how they apply what you've given them, that's the thing. And with, like you said, you come across as a nice personality, and that's what I try to do. And if I help 1 or 2 kids in that class say, hey, look, you know what? Me sitting around getting, wasting my time. If I can open up and you see that this is a business. Like another thing is when I started in this business, when I started in rock and roll, I didn't expect to have a career.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was happy working at Channel 4. I worked at a television station. I was happy being there, and I went on tour, and I thought that was going to be, I went in and did the best job that I could, and I had fun. But nobody really showed me what to do.
Right.
And at that time, it was hey man, I'm out here party, drinking. We're having a blast. I'm doing rock star things. Mm-hmm. And some point it clicked.
Yeah.
Hey man, this is a business.
Right.
And if you want to stay in this business, you got to keep going. I always say, thank God I didn't start going on the road of rock and roll when I was young, because I would have fallen by the wayside. Yeah. But once I discovered that it was a business, and everything I do is a business, and everything that's where it is. Working for yourself, I'm working for somebody else, a band or whatever.
But you live your life by your own choices.
But that's exactly what I was getting to.
Where the three of us have an entrepreneurial bent to our existence, you in some degree do have that, because you work as an independent contractor often, too.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's my name on everything.
Yeah.
And I don't want to tarnish my name.
Yeah.
But how do you convince a kid?
That's what.
Here's, I mean, I get it, but it's like. We created this.
Well, here's the thing. I have a 20-year-old son, right? And I have 2 daughters. The one thing I always say is, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. I mean, someone told me that years ago, and it always stuck with me. How you do one thing is how you do everything.
I just read a fictional book series called Orphan X by Greg Hurwitz, I think is the author's name.
Okay.
And the recurring theme throughout this entire book, the lesson that's within this fiction, was exactly that. And I came away from these
so simple
7 books that I listened to over the course of a couple of months. What a dick kick that is, because it's embarrassing to try to take that and examine. But again, back to it's great that you can instill that and instill it in your kids, but. Yeah. We've also, as they've grown up, we've created this easy way for them to be distracted, and we didn't always do it willingly. We didn't try to hurt our children, but by affording them all the quote unquote opportunity.
Well, I think
right. I mean, I see it.
I think society has created this everybody's a winner mentality, or everybody's special.
We started on that.
But that's the problem. But this is the problem that I see. It's like, you're not special.
Yep.
Prove you're special. Like, that's it.
100%.
Prove.
But see, it's hard to do that now, because you're a heartless bastard.
Fucking bad. Guess
everybody
what?
Gets a trophy. Everybody participates. Everybody gets a trophy. You're a winner.
My son's first trophy he got when he was like 5 or 6 years old for second place. I said to him, second place is the first loser. Mm-hmm. That's it. You're the first loser. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean you didn't. It means someone's better than you, or they worked harder than you. Those are 2 things you can improve on.
Right.
And that's what we have to teach kids. And we've got to get past this fucking victim mentality in society.
There's nothing wrong with competition. Like, competition makes me happy,
is what makes this fucking world go round.
Okay, talk about that for a second, because I think competition can be part of happiness. I'm very odd in that, because I don't like competition in my career. I chose to be an independent contractor and work in an environment where I did not have to be involved with sales contests and all that stuff, because I didn't find the competitive nature there to be very rewarding. At least I didn't think I did. But in other aspects of my life, I've got a lot of happiness through competing in a good spirit, whether it's playing sports, coaching sports, whatever. That competition's healthy, but that ability to be happy with competition is sometimes, in some sectors, I think it's kind of being drummed out of kids.
People think it's okay to be second.
Yeah.
No.
Or last.
You want to be the first. Well, at least you tried. Yeah, okay, I get it. You tried. Me, my God, I'll play jacks with you, with the ball and the little thing, and I better win.
You're a little bit over, yeah.
But the thing is, and that's it, because I don't know where it came from, but I strive to do the best job I can, and that means win. Now I understand that sometimes you lose, but if I lose, I don't place blame anywhere else. Yep. Even when I work, if something goes wrong, I'll call it if I did it. But if I didn't do it, I'm going to let you know.
But we haven't instilled the joy of being successful, the joy of competition, the joy that can be derived by doing the best job you can at whatever task it is. We have failed, I think, as a people, with generations coming behind us. Exactly. I believe that.
Well, I see what you're saying, because these people don't know what the joy of actually doing something right and winning and getting to that self-satisfaction because it's okay
But is it their
to
fault?
be.
But is it their fault?
Well, it's
Well,
society now.
Is it their fault? Okay, maybe. I think it's part of it is society. Part of it is the generations of us, right? That we tried to make things easier for kids. But I think for it to right itself, these generations need kicks in the face.
Either that, or they
Life
need
has to kick them in the
they need to
face.
experience some pain.
That's it.
You
That's
know,
exactly
maybe,
it.
Maybe employment pain,
That's where you
monetary
grow.
pain. I don't want anybody to get hurt.
No, but you grow
but
through pain. You grow
yeah.
through struggle. And if you don't have that in life, like I know people in my life that, you know, they're just, not to sound like an asshole, but they're living a mediocre existence and they're happy because they've never had to struggle.
Yes.
So they're like, okay, I'm good. I make enough money. Like I'm just good where I am. Like,
Well, they're not
no,
high achievers.
They're not high achievers, but I think people become high achievers through the pain and
Adversity.
struggle and adversity. That's what I think. And like going back to your point, like saying I'll try, that's my biggest pet peeve in the world. You either do it or you don't.
Yep.
Like don't say fucking try. You're either gonna do it or
Isn't
you
that
don't.
what
Because if you
Yoda said?
well, but it's
There is
true.
no try.
Because here's why. But Yoda, yes. Here's the problem with saying I'll try. It gives you an out.
Yeah.
It gives you an excuse
From the get-go.
Well, I tried.
Yeah.
Okay, do it or don't. Like I always say that to anybody. If you say you're going to try, that means I can expect you're not going to accomplish it. Because if you were going to accomplish it, you would just say, "I'll do it."
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's exactly how I think.
Yeah,
If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it.
Yep, exactly.
I'm not going to
Yep.
give it the old college try.
Yeah, like, I'm not going to say I'll try and get that done. I'm going to either get it done or I'm going to say I can't get it done today.
Yep.
That's it. Just you make a commitment, and that's the so coming back to that generation behind us, they struggle with commitment. Like that's one of the biggest problems. I look at it like even getting people to commit to events. Right, people in our age brackets, they'll commit. If they say an event, I committed to it. People in their 20s, they're like, I'll wait till maybe it might be something better that comes up.
That's interesting.
I've seen it across the board.
It's a valid point.
Well, that again, I know we're all over the place, but that's like what the major complaint I think with online dating is now is that like people they think they won't commit because they think it's so easy just to see something new,
Yeah, it's just
swipe something new, encounter something new.
Sure, there's a different flavor.
Yeah, exactly.
On the next screen.
Yes. Who wants to eat pizza
but
every day?
but I can see how that I can see how that translates to life, though, too. Like, and again, I'm not managing people. Like, our worlds are different.
Sure.
But I don't. Management never appealed to me because I never wanted to do that. Because I think it wasn't that I never felt like I was a heartless bastard, but I didn't want to be in charge of listening to someone else's problems in the workplace, which a lot of it has to do with their not being happy.
Sure.
Right? And I remember the heartless 80s and part of the heartless 90s where corporate culture was if you don't do the job, you're going to find yourself fired.
Yeah.
And they really weren't caring too much about whether you were happy doing that job. As long as you did it well and you weren't causing a ruckus, you keep your job. I don't know what it's like out there now.
I mean,
but,
I don't manage people. I lead people. Like I have people that work for me. I'm not their manager. I'm their leader.
Okay.
I want them to grow, and I want to create an environment and a culture where they become the best they can be. That's the environment. So I don't look at myself as a manager. I don't go in and watch over their shoulder how they're doing.
So
how
you
they
don't
do
worry
shit.
about their happiness.
No, because we're creating an environment that makes them happy.
Okay.
If I'm a good leader, if I lead my organization the right way, they will. In essence, they will just by a byproduct of my leadership be happy.
Okay.
Because the environment I'm creating. Now, if I see that go sideways, then I got to look at myself. It's not them. If I'm creating the wrong environment, that's on me to fix. And I think that's why I look at management and leadership completely different.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel I manage people. I lead people.
Yeah, I agree with that totally
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, you can't influence someone else's happiness,
Exactly.
but you
Yep.
can create a forum where they can operate, in this situation, their job.
Yep.
And as long as that environment is comfortable
Exactly.
and just allows them
Yep.
to have their own happiness, but the decision is ultimately theirs.
That's what we interviewed people this week for a new attorney, and the one guy I was talking to, I said, What I'm trying to do here is I want to give everybody the opportunity to build their own business within the firm to the point where they could walk away tomorrow and take their business and be completely successful, but they don't want to because of the culture we create.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful.
Like, that's what I want to encourage them all. Build your business, build your own brand, like create yourself as a lawyer within this practice. And if you want to leave, you leave and take your business with you. But we're going to make this place so fucking amazing that you're not going to want to leave.
So I have to laugh. I have no problem or no compulsion saying this. Exactly what you just preached to me is what every real estate broker has told me on day one of accepting the contract, and they've all fucking failed.
Well, I hope I'm not failing.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying in my sphere, that speech about we won't.
It's easy to say it. It's hard to do it.
Oh, we'll have no claim on your business. If you want to take your business and go elsewhere, that's totally okay. We want to make it so good here, you have no reason to leave our brokerage. I've heard that same speech, boom, 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 and everywhere I land, it does not happen.
Yeah.
And it's a shame.
Yeah.
That's really a shame, but I find that funny. So, and I get that concept. But again, I'll go back to that happiness thing. Like, when did it become part of the lexicon of corporate America? Let's talk corporate America. Let's say top 2,000 companies. And if I'm wrong, tell me.
Sure.
But when did it become part of the lexicon of human resources to care so much about their employees' quote-unquote happiness, their state of mind?
I don't think corporate America does. I don't think the big Fortune 100 companies give a shit about happiness. At least
so it's all window dressing?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I have clients that are in that space, and I know the people that work there are fucking miserable because of the culture they create. 'Cause it's cutthroat, it's heartless, it's just constantly beating on each other. There's no team environment, there's no collaboration, there's no working towards the same goal. Everybody's in it for themselves. At least that's what I see. Not every company, but I have a couple in my mind that are like that. And that, to me, I think smaller organizations do a better job of creating those environments.
Okay.
Where happiness is part of it.
Okay. Fred, of all the years you've been in movies, has you ever had a supervisor or a boss or anybody ever come to you, whether it's a year review, I don't even know if you're around a year to have a year review, but any kind of evaluation by a supervisor, has anyone ever asked you about your state of happiness, either on the job or not?
No, not in that bit. Not in this business. Nobody just sits around. Again, you're not on a job long enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, you're looking at it like a temporary working thing where you're going maybe the most 6 months. You know, even with tours, nobody's ever come up. You know who did? Zach Wild. Hey, are you happy? Here, here's a bottle of Jack Daniels. So there you go. And now, are you happy now?
Go sit in the corner.
Yeah, but no. I mean, I've had a lot of people compliment my work, you know, but not sit around and say, "Hey, are you happy?" but I think that in my area of work, if somebody compliments you, that, you know, they're trying to make you happy. You know, I mean, you're doing a great job. You at least get acknowledged for what you're doing. Yep. Where some of these places you don't. You get your review, and it's like they don't ask you if you're happy.
Okay. What about you in terms of corporate America? I know you're an independent contractor as well too. When you've been that way for a long time, in your prior life, were you in a heavy corporate environment at any point in time?
Yeah, I've been in corporate America for a period of time.
So we're looking at 90s?
No, in the 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in that era, does any of that resonate with you? Some kind of maybe a new age kind of way of looking at things creeping through HR? Does any of that resonate? Did you see any of that?
No, not really. One of the things with corporate America is it's just so big.
Yeah.
You know, in that type of environment, like you talked about, creating an environment where people can come and they can do their job and they can create their own happiness within that environment. Well, when you have 10,000 people, what is the right environment? Yeah. You know, how do they even figure that out?
Yeah.
You know, and the bigger it gets, the more I feel like you're just. You know, here's the environment. That's what it is. You know, tough. Figure it out on your own.
So it's still that way today. 'Cause I'm actually kind of, in a weird way, I'm glad to see that, because that's the kind of work environment I would think that would yield competition, innovation. Because there would be natural competition in there. I mean, not with maybe every department of a company, but probably the departments that generate the revenue.
Yeah. Well, I think too, this is one of the reasons why people are assimilating very well to working from home, right?
Yeah.
Because now it's that's their environment, and they can find their own happiness in their own environment. They're not subscribing to someone else's idea of the right environment.
That's exactly right.
I want to go right back to that, but let me just give you the reason why I'm bringing this new age HR stuff together. I worked for a company called PageNet in the 80s, and during the last years they were in existence, they were struggling. They brought a management consulting firm in. I think that's what they were called. McKinsey Group. They were big in the 90s. They would go in and fix companies. Ended up being a ruse in the end. They ended up destroying the company and then buying the scraps. But we had all these late 90s, maybe 98, 99, all these interviews about our happiness and how an overstudy of how we all interacted with each other. And it was really kind of intrusive.
Yeah.
And at that time, if it's happening to you, oftentimes you think it must be happening to everybody else. Maybe this kind of micromanagement of HR stuff was not, but it seemed like there was I don't know. It seemed like all of a sudden they were worried less about output and were we all getting along? Did your job bring you fulfillment? If interacting with this department didn't make you fulfilled, how can we change that? It was really a case study of like over micromanaging the process. And I just happened to leave corporate America at that moment, and I looked at it like, I never want to be a part of that glad-handing bullshit again.
Yeah.
So maybe that's not representative of like all of corporate America. It just seemed to me like HR had gone in a direction that was intrusive to what I was feeling. Like, why did that matter? It just, maybe, like I said, maybe my viewpoint was just skewed.
Yeah, I was in corporate America for 14 years, and no one in HR gave a shit.
Really?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it was just a pure shit show. Okay. It was just like you had management change, people didn't get along, HR never came and gave a shit about people.
Right.
They were just there to process people.
Okay.
Not really caring about what they felt or were they happy. It was, are you doing what you're supposed to do for what we pay you for?
But isn't that the function of the transaction? Because really, an employment relationship is a transaction.
Yeah. Well, no, I disagree.
Okay.
I think that's how corporate America looks at it. Like,
okay.
Employment in my world is this is just part of who you are. It's part of your life. It's part of the balance. I want people to work for me that don't look at it as a transaction. They're part of a family. They're part of a team. And it's part of their life. It's just integrated into who they are. That's what I want to create.
Okay.
Because corporate America, it's transactional. You're replaceable. I don't want any of my employees to feel like they're replaceable. I want them to feel that they're a part of something, that we're building something that they're a part of, and they're an integral part of that. And that's why we're very selective on who we bring on, because those people have to fit exactly in the right spot or it'll never fucking work. I don't want it to be transactional, because I think that's where companies go wrong. That's where companies fail. If you create an environment where everything's a transaction, you don't get any buy-in from anybody.
Yeah.
It's just we're just here to do a job. And that doesn't create innovative companies. That doesn't create massive amounts of success. But when you create an environment, like I did my TED Talk on kindness in the workplace, and when they talk about kind and good-natured leaders and how they create this environment of creativity and innovation, the companies are more profitable, they're more creative, they're more innovative, they have a better work environment. And then we need to look at it that way, and it's not transactional.
But I think the clear. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
The clear takeaway I get from your TED Talk and our prior discussions is there is a delineation between being kind and working from a position of kindness and overly concerning about someone else's happiness.
Sure. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. I agree.
I mean, because ultimately you can only do all you're doing.
To
all
your point, you
do.
Can't make somebody else happy, right? I can't control somebody else's happiness.
Yeah.
I can give them the environment so they can be happy.
Okay.
And create an environment and create an atmosphere where they feel happy in that atmosphere. But I can't ultimately make the people that work for me happy. Like Mia, Matt, Lauren, I can't come in and say, I'm going to make you happy today. I'm going to give you an environment to be the best you can be, and I'm here to support you in any way possible. And I want that to make you happy.
Would you not agree, though, that there is a mentality in the marketplace that believes that we should concentrate on an employee's happiness.
I think that's a false narrative out there.
Okay.
I think that's a show. Because I've seen corporate America.
Isn't a lot of HR always been a show?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen corporate America, and that's always like, hey, we're doing this happiness initiative. We're doing this initiative. But end all,
You've
be all.
actually heard some
Yes,
HR say a
yes,
happiness initiative.
Yes.
Wow.
To me, it's a show. It's a show. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, don't you feel like it's just it's like government, corporations. It's always someone coming in and trying to convince everybody that they have a better idea.
Yeah, that's exactly
and
right.
then once somebody buys into it, or a group of individuals buys into it, then they rewrite the process. So now you've got to relearn this process that HR is supposedly following because they care about your happiness, but really they don't give a damn about your happiness. All they're doing is reading the book that says this is what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. And it gives them job security because now they got to be there to help write the process or rewrite the process and implement the new processes.
Sure.
I mean, that's government. That's government too. Government comes in, let's create new policies so we can keep our jobs.
Yeah.
Let's create new things. Let's do new stuff. So we have to, you can't vote us out because we're going to do this great shit when it's all the same stuff over and over and over again. It's all about self-preservation.
Before we talk about success, Dale touched on a point about people working from home now. So let's go there. I guess part of the conversation could be happiness. Are people going to be happier working from home? But in the end, do you think that they will remain at home, or do you think the lack of socialization will hit them at some point in time and people will yearn to be around others again and will kind of move away from working at home? Now, again, profits are going to determine everything in the end. Profits may make people work remotely. But do you think the want to do that is just temporary coming out of COVID, or do you think it actually is a thing?
You asking me specifically?
Coming to you first. You raised the issue.
Yeah. Well, I've read a lot about this topic recently, because everybody's talking about it. They're working from home. Are they going to go back? How's it going to affect the commercial real estate market?
Right.
But at the end of the day, do we have any clue except for what we know?
Yeah.
And of course, my significant other is working from home, and there's no loss of productivity. So that goes to your point about profit. And she seems to be pretty content with it's there's a comfort there. And it kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, creating that environment. It's almost like it's not so much creating an environment for them, it's removing the things that are uncomfortable.
Okay.
And when you're at home, well, I mean, you should be comfortable. It's your home.
Right. And so the logical thing would be people would be happier if they're in their own comfortable environment. You would think.
You would think. Yeah.
You would think.
Yeah. So
as a whole.
Yeah. Right.
Some jobs he can't work from home.
Exactly.
I really, for the most part, can't work from home. I do, but not full time from home. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, then, like the CEO for Netflix comes out and he says, "Oh no, as soon as we can, we're bringing everybody back because we need to be in that environment where we're all together in order to be creative."
Yeah.
Is there some truth to that?
I think there is definitely some truth to that, but I do think that it's specific to certain
job functions.
Yeah, absolutely.
And industries, I think too.
Yeah.
I think that's also true. Because I know I couldn't. I have to be in an office. I like to collaborate with people. I want to be around, and you can't collaborate over Zoom. Despite what people say, there's no fucking way.
I hate Zoom.
You can't do it.
The wrong person when it comes to Zoom.
I was actually having a conversation last night with a client / friend of mine, and she was discussing the company she works for. They all work from home now, and it's good because they didn't like the corporate environment they were in. But she says everybody's aged so much. You can see it.
What do you mean?
Because there's no delineation between work and home anymore.
Okay.
Like when you leave, like she made a great point. She said, I used to, I would de-stress on my way home.
Okay.
So I would get in the car, listen to music, drive home, de-stress. I'm home, completely separate. Now it's like I'm home. I'm working and I'm home, and I can't. It's hard for me to break that. So it ages people quicker because it's harder to remove the stress.
Interesting.
Like I remember when we shut down first, and
that's interesting.
And I was working from home. I was losing my fucking mind.
I remember you walking in here early in the pandemic. One of my first.
I just wanted to get the fuck out of my house, like because that's not, I need to be around people, and it was just and the problem was, I set up office in my basement, and I would go downstairs, in the morning, work out, and then shower, and then go back downstairs and work, and be there for 15 hours, and come upstairs every once in a while, get something to eat or hang out. But it was just. There was no break between work and home, and it stressed me out like crazy. Wow, okay. Like it's just so I do think, to your point, I think there will be companies that will always be work from home now. They found a way to do it. They're transactional companies.
To be cheaper, right? It's got to be cheaper. Warehousing people.
I mean, you're going to see the commercial real estate market, I think, dip a little bit over the next 18 to 24 months because I think companies are cutting down space. But I do think there's going to be companies that need people back because there are those innovative, creative companies. It's hard to be innovative and creative when you're siloed at home. Like I think,
interesting. Like
I love sitting in the conference room with my team and just talking about stuff, and like talking about ideas and solving problems. Like I can't do that over Zoom. Or over a phone call. Like I want to be face to face. I want to read your body language. I want to have those discussions, look you in the eyes, like read your face, read your body, and understand what you're thinking. And that's, to me, like I think there will be companies that'll just probably remain working from home, but I don't think that's going to be a thing for everybody.
So probably very industry specific. I mean, you're not. Yeah. You're pulling your hair out being at home.
Oh yeah.
You started taking pictures of insects. I knew something was not right.
Really? What kind of insects?
All kinds, man.
Bugs became
my thing.
You need to bring some of these photos in next time. I'd like to see some.
Oh God!
Of all things, that's where I learned to hone my photography skills.
So you got something out of COVID.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
like
impressive.
Literally bug photos that
there's a market for it, I'm sure.
There is, but I haven't found it.
iStock photo, go sell them on iStock.
Adobe Stock is what is where I sent most of them. I sold some stuff on Adobe Stock.
Did you? Huh?
Yeah,
okay.
You get a couple cents. You get a couple cents from it, but yeah, I mean, I think a bridge and I can't remember what the other ones were. Like pine cones or something like that.
Hey,
crazy.
I love it.
Crazy stuff. But yeah,
I was worried about you of all the people in my sphere. I was very much worried about you because your happiness quotient, I always thought was you. It was music. It was movies. It was about activity and movement.
Yeah.
I turned into a slug, man.
Well, I just knew that. I knew that the requiring you to stay in or stationary was not going to be. It was not going to serve you well. Was I right in that assessment?
Yeah. And that was a thing, man. And that was one cool thing about bug photos. Man, I just grab a camera and just go walking around the yard. Like literally just walking around the yard
with a bottle of Jack Daniels.
with flowers and
I can just picture it for some reason.
Well, that's what I did, man.
I got some strange phone calls during that period.
Dude, some really good, but it's amazing what you can find in your own yard. Actually, the idea popped into my head of writing a book of backyard bugs. You know what I mean? It just, and just of things that are there because you really don't notice. Look how happy I am now talking about bugs. But you really don't notice all these things that are right there outside your own door.
Yep.
Did you see my latest spider pictures?
It is interesting though that you come back to that. You being at home, you thought he would be like a slug because you get out there and you get active. But in your opening answer to his question about happiness, you made the comment that you're the great pretender. He
is a great pretender.
So which is. It makes it difficult for other people to know, are you really happy? So I guess the question I had for you, and then we've moved so fast.
Yeah, that's what we do here, buddy.
To topic.
Welcome to the Eric McKenna Project.
Yes. I was wondering, when you're home alone, with yourself, are you unhappy at those moments?
Wow, man.
So good.
I like
it's a reason why Dale's on this show.
That's the worst thing, in all honesty, that's the worst thing that could happen to me. Home alone. because it's a.
You see what happens? He takes pictures of bugs.
Well,
on his
well,
front
the thing
porch.
is I had to find something to do because I'm that dog, the little Jack Russell Terrier or whatever, that if you leave him home alone, he's going to tear up something, or he's going to be good. And day by day, I don't know what's going to happen. So the outlet became to take it to learn, but there were many a days sitting at home where I'm home alone and I'm.
Great.
Yeah. And
tried to learn piano.
Try to learn piano, and
A couple of days calling the unemployment office. That was
my thing was here's what was bad for me is I had no money coming in.
Yeah.
And I worked
Alfalfa.
and I could have gotten unemployment, but one of the companies I worked for didn't put the money in Pennsylvania. Of
course.
They put $40,000 into Florida, and Pennsylvania said, "We'll call Florida," and Florida says, "We don't do that. We don't. You only worked one quarter in Florida, and you know what? No, you don't get anything." So I went weeks, like months actually, with no money coming in.
that could definitely put a rub on your state.
Yeah.
of happiness.
So I was unhappy, and I was sitting there, and I was upset, but literally, I'm not joking when I say this. I spent 17 hours on the phone in 2 days. That was my job, calling them, and I could not get through. Or when I did, I had to call Florida, to call Pennsylvania, to call Florida, and they would not talk to each other. So it was through me. So you're sitting there waiting.
Yep.
Like there were days where, I'm not joking, I called 1,200 times, speed down, and it takes 8 hours, and then they don't answer anymore. And it took me. I went through 2 periods, and this is no joke, of 5 weeks, so 10 weeks without getting paid. And I had to call each one because there was a glitch, and nobody would look for that glitch. Yep. So when I did get a chance after 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock or whatever, when these places would close down, I would go out in the yard to decompress.
Yeah.
And I took a camera that he gave me a camera, and I started taking pictures of bugs. And you know what? It made me happy.
Yeah.
I thought
It did make you happy.
That's awesome.
I thought that I'd be doing concerts or fashion or whatever, just like taking school pictures or whatever, just for fun. I discovered bugs, and here's the thing with being interested in. Because it's something new. But now I'm like, what kind of bug is this? It made me happy.
I'm glad you're back on the road, Fred. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm definitely glad you're back doing what you're supposed to be doing, because I was a little bit worried going down the bug.
Yeah.
The bug trail.
But here's what I found now. Now that I like doing photography, I don't know if I'm going to be happy going back on the road.
Well, good for you.
So I got to go back on the road.
So COVID might have, in your circumstance, opened up a different opportunity.
It opened up a different opportunity for me, and the book thing opened up a different opportunity, and I wish I would have jumped on it faster because I just didn't believe it. You know what I mean? But now I've got to write a book and go on tour and make a movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I guess that's my overall point too. When people look back on COVID, the COVID era, what I personally said to myself, just for me, was that when COVID got deep, like maybe by summer of 2020, and we were in the throes of it, I said, I have to do something because I can't really work. I got to do something that I look back on this time and don't think it's a waste.
Yeah.
So I just concentrated on fixing me in certain areas. I was successful in some, and some I wasn't. But the point was I had to do something tangible. Yeah. I think a lot of the society is going to look back on COVID and say, and they might be doing it now, saying, I had all this time, and I either drank my way through it or watched a lot of television, or I don't know if they realized that it could have been a period of productivity. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not lecturing anybody. I'm just saying that might be that might be a wasted opportunity. And if you get so many years on this world, if you carve out a year and a half of like being in this COVID era, are you going to look back at it and say, what did I do to?
In all honesty, I feel that I could have been more productive. I mean, we've discussed that 1,000 times on the show, but at the time, I was just like, man, I was trying to figure out which way to go, and before I knew it,
most of society was stressed out of there. How could you not be? They shut us down.
Exactly. But when I look back now, I'm like, man, I could have done this and I could have done that. And had I taken this serious, or, like as you said, tried to learn piano. I started learning piano, and I'm like, you know what? Why am I doing this? Because it's not. This is for me. So, but
All right, I want to turn the topic to success and what the definition of success means to you. And it's a big, broad concept, but I really am fascinated by getting guests who are willing to share their thoughts on what success means today. Has it evolved for them? How has it evolved for them? And is the pondering of success even really necessary or needed? Coming to you.
So I'll answer the last part first. Yes, it is needed to ponder success. To me, it's a measuring stick. Right? I look at success like, how do you have to have something to measure life by, right? And I think success is what we all measure life. Am I doing well? Like, I want to know. Like, I don't want to just
But it's a term, right? Because the measuring stick might be either money or freedom. Or
how you define success is the measurement.
Okay.
But success is the tool to measure. Okay. Right? So that's how I look at it. Like, I don't want to just meander through life.
Right.
Like, I don't want to wake up when I'm 50 and say, that was a cool 10 years. What the fuck did I do? Like, I want to know what I did. So I look at, my definition of success has absolutely evolved over time. When I was a young lawyer, it was about making as much money as possible. It's like I wanted to, make money and buy cool shit. Now it's like, I want to build a legacy. Like, I want to create a law firm that's different, that people are like, what the fuck? Like, I want to do the shit everybody told me that I couldn't do.
Right.
And that's kind of what we're trying to do. So my definition of success is partially the happiness, right? The freedom of what I'm doing. But to me, if I look back on my life, I will know I'm successful if I've created something different and leave a legacy for my kids, for the people that work for me, for just the clients I serve, and the people that are within my sphere. Like, I want to leave that legacy and just create something different that helps everybody. Like, that's how I'm measuring success right now. If that's even it's a pretty esoteric definition, but it's good. That's how I look at it.
That's tangible. Dale?
Not that my profession and the people that I work with in my profession are not important. They certainly are. And I enjoy the fact that some of them might think that I'm pretty important to them. But the reality of it is, for me, is success does not have a whole lot to do with what I do for a living. Growing up, I was a product of divorce, moving around a lot. Not that I'm putting any blame on anybody, but ultimately it just took me it was a long runway to actually get to the point where I really knew how to even work towards success. And I think for me, success will be if I can shorten that runway for the people that I love.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I might steal that.
That's good.
I'm definitely stealing that.
Frederico.
So here's what's funny about that.
Do you think about success, number one?
No, I don't. I think you know that.
It's so honest. I love that.
I don't carry the way. But what you said and what you both said are how I base what my feelings of success are.
Okay.
It never meant anything because I don't want to say it like this, but I never expected to be in a position where I'm at. I'm never, evidently I'm good at what I do, and people love to give me praise for it, but I guess I'm successful. I had a couple good runs. I can do a lot of different things. Every job I do, it's I find some degree of happiness with my employers and the people around me. I'm happy, I guess, maybe. And but the thing was, there was a point in time where things were flying, and that was when I was young.
Okay,
you know what I mean? I'm old now. I'm 52.
You're not old.
Yeah, but the thing is I wish when I was younger I would have taken, because as young I was like, I didn't think I was all that successful, and I pushed and I was focused on work and being the best. And to me, that was, being the best at the time when I was young was my measure of success. It wasn't necessarily happy. It was building that legacy.
Yeah.
The Boogie Street legacy was
Yeah.
part of it, you know.
absolutely.
My legacy on the road, you know.
100%.
Trying to, with the bands that I worked with, that was my name.
Well, that was because that's what I wanted to ask you about. So, Dale and Rocco wouldn't be privy to this world, but I am. And so, when it comes to guitar techs in rock and roll, and I will just say popular music in general, there's probably 10 out there that are like, I won't say household names, but industry names, go-to guys, and you're in there.
You usually don't hear about them.
What I'm saying to you, though, is while production houses and musicians know them, my point is there's about 10 or 12 go-to people. You're in there, so that to me is a remarkable achievement. To me, in the entire touring world, there's like 12 guys and gals for you to be in there, but you don't ever. That never seems to resonate with you. Like, to me, that would be a huge achievement, you know?
I never thought that I would do this. It was a joke. I went as a joke. I made a whim. I worked at Channel 4. I told my production manager, hey, man, I got a tour coming up that I was offered to go on. I have 5 weeks of vacation. Can I take them all at once? And he goes, of course. I go, it's a 6-week tour. Can I have an unpaid week? He goes, of course. So I went on tour and never ever thought. I went on tour. I went on tour for 6 weeks, and I said, hey, thanks a lot. Next time you're in Pittsburgh, I'll look you up. And he's like, what are you talking about? You're my guy now. And it's like, oh, this is my job now, because I walked into this job total, and I never in a million years.
You don't think that's success? I mean, you don't look at that
I
success.
never thought that I would achieve as much success as I did from it, and that led me to opening the doors on everything else we did. And so it was a success, but it came, and I worked for it once I got there, and that's what I said. It was fun at first, but then I said, wait a second. I kind of enjoy the success, and it became a business.
Right.
And that's where you have to, sit down and you put away your past behaviors of drinking or whatever, because now it's my name.
Yeah.
And now that I'm successful and it was easy, now it's not so easy, because I've got these young bucks coming up and they're gunning for you, and there's only a limited amount of profile jobs or jobs as you can go out with anybody that'll pay you $500, but to have somebody pay you good money is hard, and that's where I want to stay. And so to achieve that level of success and keep there, it's a little bit of work, but I enjoy putting in the work to do that. If you ask a lot of people along the way, if you ask anybody, he's successful, but what did he do? At what cost? I mean, I'd love to be able to say that I have a happy family, but I was gone. I was, and it took me away, and that was the one thing that I regret not seeing my kids as much. I was gone, but I needed to make money. I needed to be. I needed to keep the family going. And at some point, Daddy's an afterthought. Daddy's not here. That's what makes you unhappy.
That's the cost.
You're right.
That's the cost.
And you see these cats on the road. You talk about. Granted, not so much me anymore, but you see these. You sit in a hotel room and you're bored.
Right.
And that's where the drugs and alcohol come in, and you're just sitting there to kill the boredom, or to mask the fact that you're saying you're happy and you're really unhappy, because you don't have these things. You don't have the family. You don't have the dog. You don't have the house and the stuff. Like, you have them, but you're not in them. And so, I mean, that became. But now it's along the line. Along the way, things change and your mindset changes. One of the jokes is I kind of disappeared. I don't want to. The COVID was great for me because I didn't have to go on tour.
Right.
And that guy that interviewed me in January, he's like, "Yeah, man, we've been looking for you. How to get a hold of you?" I'm like, "Well, I've always been here, but I really wasn't." And so that article, that magazine article I did last January, was it kind of got me back into saying, hey, this is where you found your success. Because I'm, COVID's here.
Yeah.
This is where you had your success.
Did you mean like did COVID make you question like
my choices?
No, no, just what in terms of looking at how successful you were,
yes,
or has COVID changed what you view as success?
It did. It gave it was a time to reflect.
Yeah,
And here's the we talked about competition and stuff earlier. Man, I'll do a photo competition with you on who takes the prettiest bug pictures. That's how nuts I am. but that's what that time off did. It made me think of what do I consider? I mean, I thought about this. What do I consider successful? And I always say, and it's a straight up thing. I say I'm not happy. Well, I'll smile for you, but I'm not happy. But the thing is success did make me happy. I was able to touch people. I was able to give people help. I was able to, because I'm not selfish with what I do. Yeah. But I help out.
Yep.
In the business world, I try to teach, and what I do.
Yep.
I'm not. I freely give my money away a lot, and but it's to help. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because that's what I do. But when COVID came, I looked and saw what I did meant to people, how I could help people. Granted, what I could do to make others happy. I think I find my happiness in making other people happy.
That's awesome.
I think that's, and I've known you long enough to say that's definitely the case.
I'm not happy till you're happy, and I'll do it. I do that. That's my business model.
Burger King used to operate that way.
Yeah, right.
When we were kids.
I'll do a
not
job.
So much anymore.
I'll do a job for somebody over and over and over, and not charge them until it's done correctly, because like I said, I want it done right the first time. But your happiness is what dictates my happiness. If you're not happy, I'll redo it. And so that's kind of like what always my business model was, and I've been taking advantage on that a few times. But the thing is COVID made me sit down, look, and say, I was successful in this area. I tried to be successful in this area. I strive for perfection in this area. This is what made me happy. And now I'm ready to go back, and I found success in movies again. I'm happy with what I do, and now I'm going to go back on tour and see if I can find some success back there, because the touring hinges on what my name brings, and my recognition, my brand recognition.
Brand recognition.
So now, after 2 years of being out of circulation, let's see what the brand has left in it. What's left in the tank for the old FK?
The thing about success, which is puzzling to me, was that I never really equated money with success, but I did equate at times in my life possessions as success.
Yeah, I'm like that.
I did not have I wouldn't say I had the greatest upbringing in regards to entrepreneurship. I think my father kind of went there begrudgingly because of life circumstances, and was never really interested in being a financial success with his entrepreneurship. So I didn't have this kind of like structure to like observe. But the idea of being competitive and then doing something on my own terms and not having a boss and having that freedom, that was more a success marker to me than, I guess, a dollar figure. When we did Boogie Street and the success kind of came in a wave real quick, it was a little overwhelming, and we didn't run off and spend the money crazy. We didn't buy things, but
we invested in ourselves.
We put it all back in. We did. We put it right back in, but it was overwhelming in that we had not been able to plan for it.
Sure.
And we had talked about this many times. I didn't get good financial advice. I didn't get good legal advice. I didn't even turn into an LLC. So while we were making all this money, I wasn't doing what I could have been doing to set up a good, solid foundation for the eventual downturn, which was at some point always going to come.
Sure.
Right. So I never had, a bank account as the forefront of my success quotient. It just never. It really was to me about freedom. I think as I sit here today, one more thing. I was asked early on, did I want to create a lifestyle business or did I want to create something bigger than myself? When Boogie Street was around, the thought initially was to Eric McKenna Guitars. That's initially what it was going to be. And then someone said, hey, if you're ever going to grow something bigger than yourself, come up with a third name. And I had this idea that I was going to grow something bigger than myself. And then we turned out that we ended up just growing this big lifestyle business. Was it the right decision? Who knows? But I never felt like we were not successful. Even when we were in bad times, I said we really did something amazing here. So I haven't been able to maybe articulate this right, but I've always never had a problem in being comfortable in levels of success. But my interpretation of what success is probably not the norm, because it's not really attached to financial rewards. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense? Just not having someone tell me on a day in, day out basis, you have to be here at 9 and leave at 4 and take a lunch at this period of time. And I had that. I mean, I had that in the 90s, and it was good for me. That structure was great for me. Without that structure, I probably wouldn't have had the discipline to do things on my own. But man, that freedom thing, and now as a realtor, same thing. Not interested in growing anything for any monetary gain. I don't want to grow this podcast. I don't want to have a realtor practice that hires 10 people. I don't want all that complexity. I just kind of want to be able to comfortably live, not live paycheck to paycheck. And if people around me need help, I want to have the means to hopefully be able to help within reason. Yeah. Within reason. That to me is success. And the last part of the success quotient would be living as healthy as I can to get as many years, God willing, that I can out of this life. I don't want to go into my 60s and 70s hoping for more time, but not living in a way that put the odds in my favor. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, completely.
So that's just, I mean, that would be success to me. Living to be 90, like my grandmother, and having some level of vitality. Yeah. That's more successful to me than any car. Yeah. I like cars, or any guitar. I like guitars. But you know my point, that I just can't attach success at my age to a financial number. And I know a lot of people do, and I think that's cool, because they need that. I get it. I just can't do it.
I always look at the number as just the way to keep score.
Oh, I know.
Again, it's just really.
Oh, no. It's the way to keep score, and you have to.
Yeah, you need to know that you're. I need to know I'm moving the needle.
But you're also running an organization.
Correct. Yeah, it's different. It's not a lifestyle business, it's an organization, right? So I need to know that we're constantly improving, and if we're not, why? And that's kind of that's not how I really measure success. Like, to me, it is that freedom, it is that legacy. The problem I have with success is I don't always recognize it. That's always been my downfall. Like, not my downfall, but one of my things. I just,
like, give me an example. What do you mean?
I don't think I'm successful. But there are many times I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I don't think
through some of that, Red.
I don't think I'm successful.
We
went
through some of that.
Yeah.
You have someone say, well, look what you built in a year and a half. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. But it's just like, to me, it's like I'm always looking at the next thing. Yeah. And it's always, it's not that it's never enough. It's like, I'm not who I want to be yet.
Okay, so I got 10 years on you.
Okay.
Different fields, but there's a danger to that.
More than 10 years, right?
Oh, come on, man. All right, yeah, maybe a couple more than 10. Maybe. There is a danger to that.
Sure.
And the danger is not recognizing the success as you're going, or the little victories. If you poo-poo them, or you mentally put them in, it's not enough, that's great, thanks for the compliment, it's not enough. And I hope this never happens to you, but if there's a downturn ever and things slow, or your industry goes through changes, for me, the guitar industry tanked, life circumstances, I took a financial hit where things really got ugly. I did not revel in the great moments, and he used to tell me, take a weekend off, you and your wife go away, get away from the guitars, Eric, get away from the guitars, Eric. I never did it. Yeah. I look back at that now, and I said, I could have really taken moments to really. Case in point, cool shit was happening all the time. The Kiss stuff, the Paul Stanley stuff, the Washburn stuff, all these little moments, right? Thank God there's photographs, because if you would ask me at those moments if I was reveling in it, or we liked it, or not, it was like, okay.
I'm the same way.
It's like, okay, that relationship's going to yield these amount of units, and we have to figure that out. right? And I wish I would
50
have.
at a time.
I wish I would have. Like, I'm telling you, man, my kids were too young to appreciate
Sure.
it. They probably wouldn't have appreciated it anyways. But I just didn't have, outside of you being on the road, I didn't have that sounding board where I didn't immerse myself in the feeling of accomplishment. Does that make any sense?
No,
Like,
and
I've purposefully kept it out of my life, and that was a fucking mistake.
No, you're right, and I over the past 6 months I've started doing that. Like I know when I'm running really hot and I need to slow down and I need to take that break and just take a step back, look at what we're doing, appreciate it, and take a rest. Like so that's what like Laura and I have said. Every other month we go on like a weekend away. Like next weekend we're going away just to take those moments. Okay, we've had a great year. We're doing really good things. Like we're going to take this 2 days away and just. So I've started to do those things. Right. I know myself. I need to do that more, and I'm becoming more consciously aware of that. That's all. That's what I've struggled with for years. Because I'm always just operating.
Are you a workaholic?
Define workaholic.
I'm gonna ask you all the same question.
Okay.
I know your answer. That's a good question. That's a good ask.
Yeah.
I would say if given the opportunity to continue to working, will you do that? Do you have to cognitively remove yourself from the work environment to go attend to the rest of your life?
Do I have to Let me try to understand that question.
Hey, I never even graduated college.
No.
Man, so this is like the only sentence I put together.
I don't feel like I'm a workaholic because I don't feel like I work. If that makes sense.
Oh, I knew you were going to take it.
Well, but it's true. Like,
I get it.
I love what I do, and I feel like I've done a really good job of integrating my profession into my life.
Okay.
So I can work when I want, how I want, where I want.
Right.
So I don't feel like, do I work a lot? Do I put in a lot of hours? Yes, because I'm running a firm and I have clients. But do I also feel like I can take a Friday and come here for 4 hours and not worry about it?
Yeah.
Yes. So to me, it's an ebb and flow, right? There are weeks where I'm working way more than I should, and there are weeks where I'm working less than I should. Okay. So I always look at there's an ebb and flow. I never felt like I was a workaholic.
But given to your own devices, do you have to cognitively pull yourself away from your work? Make the cognitive decision to pull yourself out of that work environment and then attend to the other matters at hand. Given to your own devices and left alone and taking that decision out, will you just keep working?
No. I'm very good at saying I'm done for the day. Okay. I'm done. I'm going to go home, hang out with the kids, go to the gym. Like it can wait till tomorrow. If I have deadlines, I meet the deadlines, but stuff like, there's stuff that's penned. This week's just been a crazy week. I know there's shit that I'm going to be doing over the weekend. Okay. But I'm not going to stay there till 7 o'clock tonight. I'm going to go home and hang out with the kids and do that.
So you seem like you have your schedule completely in order and your priorities in order.
My schedule's never in order. It's always like crazy because it varies. I mean, I may have like this week, my calendar, I had probably 20 calls with new clients this week. They're just calling in, and I had to take those. So so then I have to move things around. So then I do spend time on the weekends actually doing the work. Okay. I've gotten to a point where I feel like I've struck a good balance because the stage my kids are in, they're dancing 4 nights a week. So I know that during those nights they're at dance anyways. Laura's doing her thing. I can stay and work a little bit longer. The weekends are where I spend the time with them because they're home. But then they dance all day on Saturday for Nutcracker practice. So I found this good balance where when they have the ability to spend time with me, I spend it with them.
Got it.
And the other times I do what I have to do for my employees and for my team to make sure the firm is running and growing, so they're taken care of. So it's kind of it's a balance, but it's a dance I do every day.
Well, I've unpacked there, but what's your thoughts? No, that's good. That's good. That's what I asked for.
Okay.
It's a loaded question too. I know that.
Yeah. I as I sit here, I'm listening to Rocco over there, and I'm like, oh my God, I want to be him. Because it seems certainly from the outside looking in, but of course, isn't this always the case, right? Yeah. As we look at others,
I'm a shit show normally.
But I just think about my day, and there's 24 hours in a day, and I sleep 6 of them. That leaves 18, and then there's 4 of them. I'm going.
There's your spirit animal. That's
it, right? So
that is so good.
I just don't. I don't even know how to answer it.
I mean, I had those 4 hours too. Trust me. There are many days where I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, it's just. I always say, like, it ebbs and flows. Like, that's, we're in different professions, and there's some similarities to our professions, I believe. But I think it's just, I've been fortunate enough where I've been able to build certain parts of discipline in my life, and I use that as my framework. Right, so I know that like there are certain things that I do every day that are non-negotiable. So once those are baked in, the rest of it kind of just falls into place. There's good days, there's bad days, but that's kind of how so workaholic, I don't think I am. I think I've been very good at being disciplined in life, and because I know the outcome I'm trying to achieve. If I didn't know the outcome, the discipline wouldn't be there. So everything I do that has a level of discipline, there's an outcome to it. So if that helps at all.
So you wouldn't be inclined, if you're working on a project that left to your own devices, you would just work 12 hours till it was done? Or are you the type that would actually purposefully pull yourself away?
Yeah, no, I guess if I'm answering it honestly, I guess no, I'm definitely not a workaholic. And the reason I say or answer it that way is because I really don't always want to work. It's not like I wake up and I just want to go to work and I want to spend my days working and I have these lofty goals, right. And once I reach one, I'm always reaching for the next. It goes back to, I think, my initial answer, which is simplicity. So you can't be a workaholic if you want things to be simple.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a real good point.
You don't think those two can be congruent, huh?
Certainly not in my situation. I mean, I work a lot, and the phone is always on, and I'm always willing to take a phone call, and if somebody needs help, I'm always willing to help them, and I'll oftentimes put others' tasks ahead of my own, and then I still have to do my own. So, am I working all the time?
Well, and I think,
am I always working?
I think an important distinction we need to make is, I look at a workaholic works for the sake of working. Right. You work because there's work to be done.
Right.
And I think you got to look at it that way.
Yeah,
right?
that's a great point. That's a great point.
I get that.
Like, I don't work for the sake of just working. I work because there's shit that needs done. If there's nothing that needs done, like if I go back to my office, I got shit I have to do, but I know that 4:30, 5 o'clock, I'm done, and the rest can wait till tomorrow or Sunday. It doesn't need done today.
That also requires a good amount of discipline, though.
Yeah,
too.
It does.
Because I used to be able to. I'm not used to be able to. I used to immerse myself in guitar projects where he would leave because he would have to leave, but I didn't have to leave, so I would just go at the expense of relationships and expense of other aspects of my life, and that was I don't do that so much in real estate. Sure. I try not to, but in prior life I did, and I because I equated doing that stuff as making me happy.
Yeah.
Well, Eric, do you think sometimes we leave because of the things in our life? We go to work because of the things in our life? I don't know.
I think so. I think I have at points in my life. I found a release with work, a getaway, or I don't know, a salve for open wounds. Sometimes I would find that salve in the work. There's Jim Rohn had a comment that he used to say, if you're sophisticated enough to understand what I'm about to tell you, there's beauty in the work. It took me a long time to figure that out, but I did eventually, and I get it. The work itself can be a beautiful construct if your framework of how you look at it is right. It can be a salve for an open wound. It could give you excitement. It could give you relief. It can be mindless and get your mind. It could de-stress you. It's the beauty of the actual work itself is something to behold if you let it become that and not view it as something you don't want to do. I mean, you're never upset with it. Every time I talk to you, you're usually in a good mood, and usually you're in a job somewhere. Nothing ever seems to be rubbing you wrong outside of saxophones falling over.
I mean, it's just I go to work and that's what I'm doing. But yeah, it's.
But Fred Kowalo does cool shit. Like when you work, you're hanging on some suspension line over a Penguin game, or you're working at a concert venue, or you're doing. I mean, like so.
Yeah, you gotta love the work though.
Right. Yes,
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
but isn't it cool how you orchestrated a life working in stuff that you love?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That
that's
you never, and I would say never take that for granted.
You know, I mean, and that's one of the weird things that, you know, how many people of us actually do get a chance to fall into not one but 2 or 3 jobs that we love. You know,
Right on.
if I would take my first, second, and third choice, I do them all. You know,
Yeah.
and so I'm going to run off and go on tour. And now I'm going to go run off and make a movie.
Do you,
and now,
remember what you used to say to me? Like, we used to sit up and we were working on guitars at late. I remember you would look at me and you would say something like, "Can you fucking believe they pay us for this shit?"
I'm seeing the world on somebody else's dime as well. That was the other one I used to say
That's
too.
awesome.
So, you know, I mean, in all honesty, and that's the joke of it, man. I went to
Yeah.
school to be a director, and at 23, I was a director, and I hated it.
Yeah.
I didn't. I was like, you know what? I don't like this at all.
Yeah.
It was, you know, I cut my hair. It wasn't very long. It was only shoulder length probably, but I had a corporate cut, and I wore a jacket and a tie to work every day. And
He had a short hair wig. Don't let him fool you.
I wasn't happy, and I devoted my life back into being a stagehand and where I could work in theater and where I could
But
be
you do
around.
work a
awesome.
lot.
Oh yeah, I work nonstop.
The workaholic. He wouldn't fit your definition of workaholic because he likes what he
think-
does.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think there are people that I know that are workaholics, and they're just working to say they're working. They're not. It's nothing that needs done.
You think that's covering up something deeper there?
Of course, yeah. I feel like most people that are workaholics are masking something else. Like, they don't want to go home, or they don't. There's relationship issues. There's something they're trying to fill a void or something. I feel like that's because, again, it's one thing if it's work that needs done. The distinction I make, or it's just work for the sake of work. 2 different things.
Yeah, my days are just long days. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
same here.
When you go into a movie, you know, you can go anywhere between 8, 16, maybe longer, and that's not counting the hour drive time. With TSO, literally, it's 1 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock, or 5 o'clock in the morning till 1 o'clock in the morning. You know, the next day. So I mean, those are just. I'm there for the long days, but that's how my days are. Even when I do rock shows down here, you're talking 18 hours.
Yeah.
You know, you're there for 18 hours a day, and if there just happens to be a series of 4 shows in a row, that's what you're doing in a row, and you know that you got to make the money when you can in my business.
Do you think it's the concept of idle hands? I don't know the exact phrase. Basically, it's idle hands eventually find trouble. Meaning, like, if you give people enough, either on the job or even in life in general, if you give people too much time, too much disposable time on their own, it's only in the end going to lead generally to something bad.
That is definitely me.
I love the honesty.
We can be done here.
Show's over.
And that's it.
Yeah, because I think about his industry.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know sex, drugs, and rock and roll and bands and hotel rooms and all the crazy stories, but if you really think about it, those musicians get all this money, they get thrown out on tour, and they're very young, and there's a lot of idle time. You do a sound check, you do a show, then you have all this time to basically, with money, and you're going to just go told to go fuck off. But same thing a lot with crews. I mean, I know crews work very hard, but you have days off and so forth. I mean, you had to have seen some people self-destruct just because of idle time. It may be because of booze and drugs.
That's what happens.
But idle time has got to be the main culprit,
you
right?
don't know what to do. You're bored. Yeah, you're in a hotel room away from everything, and you've got that idle time, and you're like,
Okay, but how many humans view having idle time or time at their disposal as a level of success?
I think it's a wrong way to look at success. If that's
I'm not
the
saying
case.
it's right or wrong. I'm saying think about how many people do that, though. Like, I'm successful because I worked at this company, and they're now going to give me 3 weeks of vacation. I'm a successful company because now I have 10 extra personal days per year. That to do what? To go fuck off and basically not work. You're actually viewing your success in an organization based upon how much time in your life they give you permission to use without giving it to the company.
Well, that's the employee mentality.
It's just so, but I mean, like that is also a viewpoint of success with some folks too. I've heard that. In my career, I think I probably felt that way.
If I hit the lottery, I'd still work.
Same here.
You know what I mean? That's
Everybody says that.
Yeah.
No, but I would.
I would. Like, I wouldn't.
Yeah, would you work if you hit the lottery?
Yes.
You would?
Well, for the reason that we just talked about.
Oh, idle hands.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if I sit around, it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that's good really for anybody. You were sitting around and you hated life.
I fucking wanted to kill somebody. Like, it was, and I was actually working, but I was unable to interact with other human beings.
Okay.
Like, to me, I'm an extrovert. I get my energy from other people. If I hit $100 million tomorrow, I'd still walk into the office Monday morning.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably look at things a little bit differently, right? I'd probably take a lot more risk in life because now I have a bigger financial cushion to do that.
Right.
But I love what I do.
Yes.
I do. Like, not many lawyers say that, but I truly love what I do. I don't feel like I work. So I want to do something. I want to be cognitively challenged.
Okay.
I don't ever look at me retaring someday. Like, I'm not looking forward to being in my 60s and calling it quits. Like, no fucking way.
Right.
I want to keep kicking ass into my 80s. May slow down a little bit and, maybe, travel a lot more and do different things.
Right.
But I've never got the idea of just calling it quits. And just saying, I'm going to wake up every day and just do nothing.
Yeah, I have no interest in doing that either. And I'm luckily, knock on wood, I'm in a career that with a little bit of luck, I should be able to do that.
Yeah.
Well into my, however much time I have here. I don't see any real need to quote unquote retire because I'm not really killing myself. It's a job that that enables older people to keep doing it. You not so much. At some point in time,
I'll die on stage. I will die on stage. That's a.
Will it be filmed? Is what I want.
Yeah, right.
Will it be filmed?
Maybe I'll do it here.
Correct.
He'll be tripped by the cameraman's cord.
Right.
And then, of course, and they're the attorney, and I'll get sued, and that is fantastic. We're in trouble.
Yes. We'll take care of them.
But you. Last question: is it a missed opportunity that we don't talk to school age children, let's say junior high or senior high age children, about success in the home environment or in a school curriculum? Because if it is happening, I'm not aware of it. Like what the concepts are, how that works in their minds, or is there absolutely no reason to do this and it's more of a personal thing?
We absolutely need to do more of it. I don't think it's done enough in schools. I've done talks at high schools and junior highs on entrepreneurship and success, and you can see the look on the kids' faces. No one's talking to them about this shit.
Yeah.
Like, they have no idea. Like, no one's talking to them about this stuff. Like, oh, there are other paths out there. You can work for yourself. You can do it. And here are some tools and some things you need to understand about life that they're not going to teach you in a classroom. And I think kids should be like, I try and do that with my kids. I wish the school system took a bigger approach with that, because I think it's extremely important, because I think we're ill preparing kids when they get out into the world. They don't know how the fucking world works.
They can't even read it. They don't even know how to use a checkbook.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's
or
just
their taxes.
Right. Like, teaching them principles of like human interaction, like how to talk face to face like we are, how to look a person in the eye, how to shake someone's hand, how to walk into a room, manners, decency. Like, those are things that need fucking taught.
This is you've touched on when it came to me. I couldn't wait to jump on those points, because that's how schools around the world, especially Asia, China, Japan, these kids from kindergarten or whatever through third grade or whatever, they're taught manners.
Yes,
and they're taught how to interact with people and how to get how to talk.
Yes,
how to not trample on somebody, as we do here in America, and look at that as a success.
Yeah.
These people are taught how to be mannerly, how to take care of their loved ones, how to take care of themselves. They're taught ethics, and that's not what's taught here.
No, not at all.
But they also are taught the basic skills, the math that they need, the political sciences, the science. Kids don't even want to. They're failing school because they don't want to go to gym. Right. You know what I mean? Literally, it's the truth.
Don't want to climb the rope.
But you have these kids that that's okay. Yes, that's what I will do. Not saying that they're being forced into it, or brainwashed into it. No, they're given the skills that they need from a young age to adapt later on in life, the business, the things that they'll need in business and developing themselves as an adult.
Yes.
We don't have that here.
Well, we definitely don't. I don't believe that we definitely have anything outside of maybe the junior achievement program or something. There's no real institutional curriculum about entrepreneurship, like starting your own business or earning a living off of your own endeavors.
Yeah, right.
That's a missed opportunity, and I don't know. I don't profess to understand how that curriculum is structured, who should teach it, what age it should be brought in. I don't know. But like I always thought junior achievement was an amazing thing. When I got into junior achievement, I'm like, this is amazing. But it's not really part of the curriculum. It's an extracurricular activity.
Think about why. Because if you start teaching kids that you don't need to go to college and you don't need to do this thing, the education system starts to crumble in this country. It's a big fucking business.
Call it secondary education.
Yes, I mean, think about it. It's a big business. Yeah. I mean, so you start telling kids that, hey, there's another path out there for you, entrepreneurship. You don't need a degree to do these things. And then all of a sudden, these education, less students go, less money's in the system. Like I know, like where I went to college, W&J, when I graduated, it was like $26,000 a year. It's $65,000 a year now. That's big business. Nothing's really fucking changed. A lot of the same professors are still there, same degree on the wall, but somehow the cost went up almost 3x in 20 years. Right. It's a business. So they're by teaching kids this bullshit and then keeping them in this system, it just perpetuates the system. Yep. That's my belief, because I think there's way more opportunity out there. Like I even told my son before he went to college, whether his mom agreed with what I said or not, I said, don't go to college unless you're going to go be a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, an engineer, something you need a degree with, a specialized thing. Right. That's what you should go to. Or if you want to have an experience, then understand that's what you're going for, then get as much of a wide array of education as possible. Right. But don't just go to college. You go to college, you think you have to do it. Have a purpose for it.
Absolutely.
And I think there's there's too much money being wasted. Like if I went back, if I wasn't going to be a lawyer, I wouldn't go to college
right now.
I mean, it's the truth. It's like when you think about it. So I think the system's broken.
There's no doubt.
Yeah, it's
the
completely
education
broken.
system is definitely broken.
Broken completely.
I'll try and tie this together. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to or not, but when you asked the success question, you made the comment, young bucks are gunning for you. It's interesting that you make that comment, because I think that that's a measure certainly of success. If somebody else wants what you have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's definitely that. But then, what we're talking about now in education and entrepreneurship and youth, you're exactly right. There's lots and lots of children out there that have no idea what you do. Yeah, so they can't gun for you because they don't even know what it is. Yeah, exactly. But there's plenty of them that may love it. So how do you bring that type of exposure? And ultimately, you talk about the education system being broken because, I'm going to school and I've got to do art appreciation and pardon the facial expression. But
advanced basket weaving.
Yeah, there's all this stuff. And none of it really truly directs you towards a life path at all. But I also feel, though, that companies and businesses and corporations, they have a responsibility to also position that information in front of the upcoming youth.
Exactly. Right on.
So for sure, businesses have to take an active role in the education of our populace, whether it's, kids in kindergarten or kids in...
I don't think they feel they need to, though. I think they throw that onto the government, and they also believe that the system is wired in a way that it's going to send kids off to college, and then we'll hire the kids that come out with a piece of degree, and that's going to be our benchmark, and we don't have to get involved in that.
Well, there's little signs of it, and I don't remember if it's Apple or Google or maybe it's both of them, but they've come to the table and said, hey, we want to hire you if all you have is an high school education.
Interesting. Yeah,
because we don't want you to be biased or and I don't mean biased politically biased. I mean biased about a learning path or a learning trajectory or how you assemble ones and O's.
Yeah.
So Walmart stepped forward and said, "Hey, we're going to give this much money towards education." Well, which is great, but how about you manipulate?
Yeah, how about an initiative?
How about you help manipulate the education? With your power, so that it actually preps individuals to be part of the retail environment.
Well, the bottom line is, I am guilty of the same mentality my parents had, and quite frankly, I think even their parents had, is that, you graduate high school, you go to college, you have to get that paper, you have to get that degree, you have to get that degree, you have to get the degree. Now, meanwhile, I even showed my parents, luckily, that you don't have to take that path.
Yeah.
But was I strong enough of a person to instill that in my own too? I don't think I don't think I had my say, and that's my fault. So I'm a living proof that you don't have to go the conventional route for what it's worth. You're a living proof. Well, you have more paper than me, Fred.
I'm
saying an unconventional path to I don't know, unconventional career path. But see, the thing is, Rocco, like, I didn't want to lay it on my kids that, hey, you don't have to go to school, and if you work hard and you find your niche, you can figure things out. But I think the fear is that it's so rare that kind of happens. You're trying to put the odds in their favor. Now, is that really true anymore? Or is that just a mentality that we've been beaten down and we just hand the money to college because that's just what we're supposed to be doing?
Yes.
And I was in a position, of all people, to say, whoa, let's wait. Let's think this through.
Yeah.
I didn't get past my second year at Robert Morris.
Yeah.
But I'm okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying that my route is conventional. It was not, and it was hard. But it can be done in other ways. So I don't know. I'm as guilty. I don't have any solutions, and I'm as guilty as falling prey to or not doing the things that I think would have been a better move. But ultimately, there's nothing in the curriculum that I see that encourages entrepreneurship or even independent thought, for that matter. That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, totally different.
But it's disheartening that the college mantra is still there. It doesn't seem to be. I think it's even stronger now than when our parents. We didn't go to college because we couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
Now the assumption is that you are going to college no matter what, you can't afford it or not, you're going to go. And I say, I don't think that's healthy.
And they make the money easy to get. That's the thing.
Yeah,
that's exactly. They make the money so easy to get, and it's the only debt you can't bankrupt.
Yep.
Yeah, right. They make it so easy to get.
Yeah,
but
you can't.
There's no escape.
There's no escaping it.
You can't escape it. But you can. You're 18 years old. You can take on student loans. You can take on private loans to fund your education. You can't buy a house. But they can get credit cards, and you can't bankrupt that debt.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
and your parents can co-sign.
Yeah, exactly.
And mortgage their future as well.
They make it so easy.
Exactly.
Of course they do.
They make it so easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And first of all, should knowledge cost any money anyway?
Right.
That drives me crazy. It's like there's so much to know and to learn out there. Why do you have to pay for that?
Yeah.
Especially in the era of the internet. You have the world at your fingertips. There are places like Udemy, which is to me, it's a thing. There's a lot of online courses that people can take, to the point where you could take online physics courses now. And the last thing I'll leave you with on that realm, I had to laugh because I have a friend of mine who's got their child at CMU, and when the COVID came, they were shutting down campus, and the kid had to come home. So their courses went virtual. So the kid's a freshman, virtual courses, CMU. And to make matters worse, some of them were pre-recorded.
Right.
And the answer to my question is, how is that then any different than a Udemy course?
Exactly.
Yep.
For $39.99 for
absolutely.
20 hours.
Yep.
In reality, so my hope is that the delivery method, and it may take a generation or two, but the delivery method of information and education and opportunity will change traditional college. I hope. And make the learning stream faster, hopefully make us smarter, and hopefully not bankrupt half the population in trying to obtain it.
Sure.
That's a hope.
Friends, I had a good time.
This was awesome.
Did you dig it?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Dale, this
Yeah,
is your
it's
first
good.
time, and I hope definitely not your last time here.
Version
But
to the
I hope
podcast.
you had a good time.
Well, that's good. You want me to come back? I guess it went okay.
100%.
Absolutely.
This is definitely a good group.
This
But I
was fun.
appreciate you giving me your time today. I wanted to get some things off my chest, but I also wanted to see on those two subjects of success and happiness, to hear some really unvarnished opinions of that. And I think you all gave that to me. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Good show.
Thank
All right,
you.
friends. We are out.
See you later.
Peace.
All right.
Is that good?
Yeah, that was good.
That was cool.
Hello, you're listening to the Eric McKenna Project.